All right, I think we're good.
Oh
Sorry,
my
guys.
God.
We had to reset the space. It seems like just constant X space connectivity issues, but yeah, let's wait until some people join in here, and then we can formally kick it off. So, Brian, if you want to play a tune from the Arch Network account, yeah, we can
I
go
don't
from
know.
there.
That sounded pretty hectic last time.
We
Did
could
it?
we could we could always ask Nick if for his political correspondence here on the
Y-
election play by play.
Yeah, Nick, could you tell us who already started counting the votes and like how the whole political thing's
All
gonna
right,
play out?
hold on. This is not a political show.
Yeah, it
Look.
is. Are you kidding me, dude?
All
We're
right.
just talking election and how that's gonna play into our runes bags. That's it.
All right, look. GM, everyone who's just tuning in. This is Bitcoin Builders, plural. Had to had to reset the space because it got rugged. The last couple of weeks, I guess even last week, we had some issues on X hosting X Spaces, but we're back up and running. Today's a big day, not only for the U.S. but also for pups. It's the happy migration day. It's the cutoff. So finally, for all BRC20 holders, the day has come. If you don't make it to runes, then yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You had over 2 months, and it seems like most people are most definitely waiting for the last minute, which is not surprising in crypto. But Bunzi, like I guess GM to you, what's going on? Anything that you can share as to like weekly recaps? It's been a while since I've kind of been in the trenches, and I know you're a trench lover, so.
So it's pups giving is what you're saying. It's like Thanksgiving, but for like pups migration when
I
they
think
just
I think I think more formally it's like World Peace Day. It's the way
world
that I want
shouldn't
to see
that
it.
shouldn't that be like every day?
I mean, look, it's a bit of a turmoil in a lot of places of the world, so
No,
let's
but
start with
but
let's
I'm
start with
most
that.
interested of how whatever president's going to pump our rune bags because I don't see any of that on the debates. I've never heard like Trump say rune yet. So I'm just curious of like which rune's going to go turbo and I'm going to be able to get my political Q4 bag. So Nick, the correspondent himself, how are these presidential candidates going to influence my rune bag? Because um, I'm just kind of uninterested otherwise.
I think the single issue rune voter is is a pretty new phenomenon if it exists, considering that we don't have enough liquidity to survive not having a downturn when Casey decides to launch a rune. So I would say that the chances of specifically targeting runes maybe not great, but Bitcoin's pumping. Bitcoin's back up from that momentary lull. So a few days, over the weekend. So that's something. And I would say one thing to watch out for if you are someone who's, going to play around with your bags a little bit tonight, and if you're trying to play the market, is, this is not financial advice, blah, 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 blah. But I would say that you should be careful about how the market is going to read, like, really, let's see here. So essentially, when I covered campaigns, you always had this issue where people would think that they were winning because the results were coming in from certain areas that were either like high Democrat or high Republican, right? And so they didn't realize that just because like the vote, starts out really strong one way, you have to be looking at where the remaining votes are. So a lot of places, like for instance in Georgia, it takes a lot longer for the cities to tabulate their votes, and so you get like a really strong, probably a very strong Trump advantage early on. And then as the night goes on, you start catching up with the votes in the city. So there's a pretty good tweet thread. I need to share it. I need to find it again, but it breaks down exactly like which states you would expect, like what time of night they're going to lean one way or lean the other, depending on when the votes come in. And anyone, I was just having a chat with my Telegram chat with the folks here in Atlanta who are crypto focused, and
The
they were all.
Fed, your Telegram chat with the Fed.
I was just having my direct link with my superiors, and they were saying, "Oh, like this is gonna be wrapped up. Like Pennsylvania's in the bag. It's gonna be done by 8 p.m." Pennsylvania is like among the worst about this because something like 2 million of the 7.5 million, about 8 million votes that you would expect were done by mail vote, and they don't start count. They have a law there. It's pretty outdated, but they have a law there where they're not allowed to start counting the mail vote until the morning of the election. And so last time around, that's what led a lot of us who were covering the election to be stuck in Philly for 4 days while protests were going on because everyone was still counting the votes. So what that means is that if the vote in Philly is close at all, which all the polls have suggested, though, who really knows, if the polls are, or if the vote is anywhere close at all in Philly, we're not going to find out from Philly until tomorrow, probably.
Whoa, dude!
I just checked
I,
Polymarket.
I didn't know that you were so in tune with presidential elections, but I'm just looking at your profile.
I covered
You're
the
a
last two.
DC correspondent interviewing them, which is great.
Yeah, I interviewed everyone from Andrew Yang to I was one of the first people to write a profile of Kamala in 2016, back when she was running for Senate. I interviewed everyone across the spectrum. I did not get a one-on-one with Trump ever, but I went to many, many of his rallies, and so definitely politics is my background.
Do you ever get a one-on-one with Kamala Harris?
I got a one-on-one with Kamala. Yes, yeah.
So
Sick.
Nick, I
Dude.
guess I wrote a little post about this because I was thinking about it a little bit more.
Mhm.
I mean, at the end of the day, people in the crypto industry are very much, I think, pro-Trump,
Yes.
particularly because he's got a more progressive view to crypto. Whether that's actually true in practice or not, when it comes down to like implementing some of these rules in his campaign more formally and as a part of his policies, that's kind of TBD. But he's been kind of the social president. He's dominated on every single podcast, X feeds, you name it. He seems to be capturing the mind share, at least on like what I see on the internet. My internet is very different than most people's internet, but so it's very biased. But that being said, like my view on this is, crypto, although a lot of the innovation comes from Western teams and US based teams, it's a global industry, right? Like it's a massive industry in Asia, it's a massive industry in Europe, it's a massive global industry. So it doesn't mean that like we're not going to be on food stamps if Kamala wins. Like the industry is still going to snowball forward, much like it has been since 2009. And every single time every country has tried to stop crypto, they come to a standstill eventually because the momentum is just way too strong. There's far too many people that genuinely care about this. And at the end of the day, the government works for the people, in most cases. And so
It's
if the
supposed
people,
to. It's supposed to.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's supposed to. It's supposed to.
Yeah. I mean,
So if most people embrace it, then no matter who wins this election,
well,
we're still
well,
going to be in good hands long term.
yeah, I mean, like, I want to agree with you. And the funny thing about being a journalist or having that background is that you have to be the most optimistic and the most cynical asshole ever. So, on the optimistic side, right, like we believe that giving people information will allow them to make more informed decisions and make up their own mind for what they want to do. On the cynical side, we see what you degens are fucking looking up on the internet, and it's disgusting. I mean, it's just porn and cat videos, right? So, I both am optimistic and pessimistic. But what I'd say from a very practical standpoint is, Bitcoin especially and most crypto is probably here to stay. I mean, we've won the culture battle in terms of just, existence and having enough sway there. Not to mention just the fact that it's actually more of a competitive geopolitical thing at this point, right? So like most technologies that reach a certain point, if China is allowing it, or if Korea is allowing, or these other competitors, then we suddenly become a huge. We can lose talent to that. People move out of the U.S., like things like that. I would say, as far as the candidates themselves, I think people obviously are more bullish with Trump, and that's pretty. I think what it is on a very basic level, we've seen how this industry has been so close. I mean, multiple times this year we were about to break through. It seemed even more so. The market was about to go through, and then something happened, whether it was geopolitical like Israel, or oftentimes it was things like regulatory stuff crashing down, right? And so having a president who, at least in Trump, I'm not, I covered Trump on his 2016 campaign, I covered him in 2020. I've even done a little bit of reporting this cycle, and I don't necessarily think that he's going to come in and be a huge policy guy, right? He's not going to pass a bunch of laws that are blatantly pro crypto, although I think he's more open to it than, certainly more open to it than the past. But he is, there is a sentiment in general that, he's going to leave it alone, right? And that, I mean, for crypto, where we're at this point, that's a win. And so I understand why people see, you just don't want someone to fudge your bags, right? So with Kamala, she's given some lukewarm interest. Her statements definitely could be more positive. But I will say this: like, she's from California, she's from San Francisco. Her background traditionally has been open to new technologies, and so anyone who thinks that, okay, if Kamala loses, like, the market's just, I mean, I think we may experience a short-term dip, but I don't think that this stops where Bitcoin is
You
getting this
mean if
cycle.
she wins? If she wins.
Sorry, if she wins. That's, if I didn't say that, I mean to say that. Yeah, if she wins, I don't think that the market
Wait,
tanks.
what do you know, Nick? What do you know?
Well, on
You
the
know,
memo that I got this morning that just told me who was going to win.
yeah, you get memos. Yeah, dude,
Memos.
memos.
That's right.
Who's on the P Diddy
Memorandums for you
list?
illiterates.
I
Damn.
guess
When was the last time I got a memo?
on the topic of like election odds, it is quite a pretty interesting election to hold. In predictions, markets have certainly been more possible and more accessible because of crypto as kind of a leading driver of that. You had Augur as the first predictions market, and then you have Polymarket right now, which arguably has the most amount of volume from an elections betting perspective. And I think like that's an interesting take here. One, we woke up this morning and the odds just shifted drastically, and Bitcoin hit over 70K just off of that, just off of the poly market odds shifting drastically as well, and then you had the equity markets shift drastically upwards. It is quite interesting. Like, I was thinking about it from another lens too, is because poly market is fairly illiquid. I mean, it doesn't take much to move the market to one side or the other. I'm sure there are people out there that are playing around with that, and it's almost like a leading indicator, or the de facto uh, I guess, odds platform for the outcome of the election, which is driving every other market uh, in terms of sentiment and expectations, right?
I think you're
It's quite fun.
speaking to the fact that on some level, someone could pretty easily sway the conversation too by, just dumping a couple million on it, right? So there's that aspect. I mean, if you want to be bullish on Trump, and the reason why maybe some people woke up and thought, hey, there's an opportunity here, Bitcoin dropped a little bit over the weekend, and we're pretty bullish that it's going to go up because Trump's, likely to win. The biggest things that are the leading indicators for him is that the polls are much closer and much more, I would say, like slightly in his favor, either tied or +1, than like 2020 or 2016 leading into it with Biden and Clinton. And what that means is that, if you do assume that Trump voters and Republicans in general are a little harder to get on the phone, harder to get to answer polls, that there might be a little bit of a thing there where if he's tied or +1 even, like, it may be more difficult to see him losing. The other aspect of it is that traditionally, at least, Democrats have been much more likely to vote early and vote by mail. And some of that changed with COVID. Some of that has evened out. There is more of an even split. But if the fact that, like, in some of these swing states, it seems as if more more Republicans have turned out as a percentage than in the past. And if that's the case, um, as long as they're not just siphoning away people who would have voted on voting day anyway, like these are like new voters, or some of them are new voters, that suggests that Trump's got a pretty good lead. So there may have been some smart people who looked at this, but I guess the biggest like arbitrage opportunity here is when the markets like freak out because like the results come from North Carolina and all the rural areas voted and Trump is like massively winning, right? You know, or vice versa, if the reports come out and like only the cities have voted in the swing state and it looks all Democrat, like you should just know that whatever swing it takes, that's going to be probably not related to the outcome, actually. Like, I mean, it may or may not be. And so like make your bets based on that.
Got it. So, long story short, is we should be gambling on Trump and Kamala meme coins all day long. Is the TLDR?
Bro, no doubt.
Look,
What the fuck else are you doing?
on the topic of Bitcoin, I think there's been, we're talking about like, the potential impact to Bitcoin price. I think, it's pretty clear that higher is the most likely outcome here. But when it comes down to, I guess, on-chain activity, there's been some interesting sales actually to highlight. We had an OMB Red Eye sale just about 3 hours ago for 1.6 BTC. We also had an ordinal punk sale at 0.5 BTC. So it seems like the rares and the provenance to some of these early collections, as well as the more desirable grails, seems to be coming back. That's not necessarily reflective in a lot of the floor prices for these assets, with OMB at 0.145, where it was like 0.19 about a week and a half ago. Node monkeys are down, and puppets are still ahead of node monks in terms of the floor price themselves. So the spank the monkey still holds. And then, we have the Bitcoin wizards, still have a pretty good amount of volume on a day-to-day basis, primarily around the speculation of, wizard as a token. Magic Internet Money, of course, is a very, I would say, interesting rune to look forward to. I guess on the topic of that, a lot of people are expecting news to come out tomorrow, which would be, I believe, the anniversary of the wizard meme itself. And it sounds like Maven is actually building his own migration platform and tool, and not using some of the more off-the-shelf type of solutions, such as OrdKit and others, which have built Rune's Claims platforms and BRC20 Burn platforms. Totally understand. Wizard is not a very low cap meme to be, I guess, gambling on as someone who's the founder and the creator of the meme itself. And I think a lot of people are going to care about that one. And the migration will end up being pretty damn successful. It took Pups about 2 months or so to reach 92%. I think that Wizard actually will have a much higher velocity for the migration side of things, because it's a mental asylum in there, and everyone just wants to have their runes. I know Robert is a big fan of Magic Internet Money. It's a great meme. It's mimetic in nature. I think a lot of people just think that crypto money comes from thin air, and Magic Internet Money is certainly one to capitalize on that. So should be quite interesting to see that one play out. Robert, I guess any thoughts to some of these ordinal sales, like the major sales, like OMB at 1.6 is I think the first time that we've seen an OMB Grail asset sell over the last 4 or 5 months. I wanted to hear what you think about that one, as well as some of the other early inscriptions, like the Ordinal Punk sale at 0.5 BTC. That one seems very free to me. It was an offer acceptance, so probably had a factor. Someone just wanted out.
Yeah, GM. It's nice to see some like Grail sales, and interestingly, like some of these sales are coming at a time where even on very established ecosystems such as Ethereum, like we don't really see that many 100K sales on Ethereum as well. And like it's interesting that Bitcoin Grail assets are competing for this like 6-figure USD spot right now. We also had a Bitcoin Shroom sale last week for 1.25, right? which actually brought out a lot of sellers, funnily enough. Like the floor has since collapsed on the shrooms down to 1.05 with top bid at 0.8. So yeah, I like to see the action on these like Grail assets. I have opinions on all of them, and as you noted, I'm pretty bullish on the wizard side of things. I think it's a really strong meme, and MavenSpot is arguably just the best memetic like actor I've seen in the Bitcoin space. Like pretty much everything is a joke, and I vibe with it personally. I know like memes are really personal, and everyone like kind of reads them differently, but yeah, just the provenance of the wizard memes and the fact that MavenSpot has been creating for about 10 years has me pretty excited.
Yeah, love it. I actually didn't know that the Bitcoin Shrooms floor price was that low at 1.069. That actually seems pretty damn low. I'm wondering. I see that last sale on it was 1.095, but I suspect that may have been a default on a Liquidium loan, actually. Otherwise, it's a KYC shroom. It's quite a good one. I guess you're much more familiar with like the ETH NFT marketplace, but I was under the impression that 100K plus fiat dollars, military-backed dollars sales happen pretty regularly on it on the Ethereum side, like multiple times a day. No.
They used to. I mean, we used to see a lot of like Videnzas and Rock Sale, but if we just look at the past 24 hours or so, like I'm not even seeing a like an ETH sale, like I don't know, in like the mid five figures here. My source of truth is cryptoslam.io, which they don't typically have the best data, but yeah, like I mean, CryptoPunks are wrecked. Like the big Ethereum kind of down pricing relative to BTC, I think has a lot of these Grail collections on ETH like really struggling. CryptoPunks for the first time in many years are now trading at under 1 Bitcoin floor, right? So that's kind of an interesting metric. So I think the Ethereum struggling so much against the other majors has really not helped the NFT ecosystem. And I'd really like to see these Ethereum NFTs like transition from being priced in ETH to being more commonly traded in like say wrapped Bitcoin at least, or like even just like USDC. Like just given that Ethereum is underperforming.
Are you saying you just want Ethereum to become a Bitcoin L2 like Cardano is becoming?
I mean, it sort of is, right? Like when we have Base out here, Coinbase, like deploying a wrapped Bitcoin competitor and integrating it very like natively into the ecosystem, like one does tend to think like, why can I not just trade my CryptoPunks in wrapped Bitcoin? Like it's a stronger, more resilient asset. I think the market is clearly demonstrating that. But even if like you're not fully aligned with that thesis, like just the optionality alone would be, I think, really good for the NFT ecosystem on ETH.
Speaking of the ETH NFT ecosystem, OpenSea just kind of came out with like some type of announcement. It's pretty random. If they're not adding ordinals, like, are they just hopefully deleting their account soon, or like, what is OpenSea trying to do
It's
here?
a good
Does anyone have
question.
any
I
idea?
have a pretty speculative view on this, that they're just gonna become a meme coin app chain.
Isn't that what all this shit is, anyways?
Yeah. I mean, non-fungible meme coins with communities. I suppose with lower holder counts and higher entry. I guess Blur definitely switched the view of like how these things are perceived, of course, and in a lot of ways, like the fun in trading traits, was really like vanished because of Blur, and everything was priced at floor. It's not really dissimilar to how we're seeing a lot of these ordinal collections on Bitcoin trade as of recently, in the last 4 months, right? Like, Robert, you and I used to trade traits all the time. Like we were always discussing like some of the coolest node monk traits. There was mid rares, there was some rares, but it seems like in most cases we haven't necessarily seen trait-based sales or really like good aesthetics trade at a premium in a very long time.
You just said that on OMB, the red eyes.
Yeah. I mean, this is more of like the rares themselves, right? But when we're talking about like floor prices, for example, there used to be quite a big differentiator with like, the duck trait, for example, because it kind of resembled the gold node monks, and now I see like ducks are at the floor, and then you had count ahead with eyes left, which is Robert's, I would say favorite trait combo, and he's been a collector of that trait in every single shape, size, form.
Yo,
Um,
yo, you guys have tranny porn pinned at the top here.
oh God! All right, God, damn,
Sick.
who the fuck?
No, leave. Dude, you're not into that type of thing?
Oh man, who is doing
There's like 1,000 of them.
Sick, dude. Mine's a sensitive content, but sounds pretty extreme. Who's Sir Toshi, dude? Sir Toshi's a sick motherfucker. Dude, Randy, what up? We got Jack too. We got
Morning.
the squad. Good morning. How do you feel about OpenSea releasing like a really shiny landing page?
Oh, I didn't see the landing page, but I saw the pre-release hype video. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. Is it just going to be like, are they finally going to give everyone a token?
Did you see my
Are they going
shiny
to
new landing
finish?
page?
Dude, your landing page has always been shiny, bro. What are you talking
We
about?
just redid it. It's shinier than ever.
Harry sent me some pretty sick screenshots, actually. Pin it. I'm sick of seeing this tranny porn.
Yeah, let's pin the Ordinals wallet. So I was able to, with some help from Harry, but almost exclusively built by me, this new Ordinals wallet.
Damn, flexing up here.
Using AI and stuff.
Let's
So
go.
I'm just becoming a dev here. You know that
Dude, that is, yeah.
there's still a ton of tranny porn up there, guys.
Oh my God, this fucking Sir Toshi is a
Bullish.
fucking menace in spaces. All right, remind me just to never let him up ever again.
Damn, this is pretty. That's
Someone,
pretty epic,
yeah,
though.
there's too much to delete. So, look, guys, we gotta pin like 1,000 other things to really, wash out the noise here. This is fucking ridiculous. There we go.
Dude, all right. What is this gay shit? What is this pin now? I'm just kidding. No, this is dope. All right, walk us through. Oh, look at this. Talk
Oh
about
damn, there's some
traits.
competition out here.
Oh God, look at this. Look at now. It's tranny
All
porn
right,
again.
hold on.
Bro, how did the feds rug the space like 3 days in a row, but this one is on strong here?
This one is
Well,
great. Look, we got a battle between
they're pushing
Staflo.
tranny agendas on us, dude.
We got a battle between
They want
Robert
us.
from Staflo, Randy from Ordinal's Wallet. All right, look, guys.
Oh, let's do this. Which one has the best features?
All right, no,
Randy, you go first.
let's chat the
Which one's got
rebuilt
the most
Ordinal's
volume,
Wallet
Drew?
UI. I'll let Randy join in.
Which one's got the most? No. All right, Randy, what's up? But it would be sick to hear because this is a cool update. I see Node Monks. Everyone likes Node. Oh
Well,
wait,
we were
this
actually
is.
hoping
Oh
to
yeah,
work with SatFlow on getting better data. They have a really good global history, global volume, all that stuff. We want all of that. So Robert, when open source?
It's a
Seriously.
good question. Yeah, we spent a lot of time building like 1 second, sub 1 second mempool parsing of like every trade or mint or whatever like activity on Bitcoin that's occurred, and we do actually like we are very actively working on exposing some APIs like around listing, buying, and some data as well. So stay tuned. We'll publish more soon.
Can we get early access?
Maybe let's chat, sir.
All right, you got my iMessage.
All right, Randy. So what's going on? So you guys completely overhauled the Ordinals Wallet UI. I mean, I've seen kind of an update with it about a week or two ago. Last time I used it.
Yeah, you've
But
probably seen the majority of it. The bulk of
got it.
the update was Harry's big trade update, where, you know, all tokens, NFTs, all of that are like really easy to bulk buy and sell and list and split. I mean, I think our listing and splitting tools are the best in the market. So that was all very exciting, but we felt like people would come to our website and still see the same homepage and might not know that the guts, you know, the value is somewhere, you know, within the website. So I wanted to make it a point to redo the homepage to make it look like, hey, we're building professional trading tools here. Most of them are already done, by the way, but now that it looks different on the homepage, maybe you'll start to click around and realize, you know. So yeah, we have you know,
Damn.
full sales history of everything that's selling on Ordinal's wallet up, so people can see live what's going on, and it's really a lot of tap. It's like majority tap and bitmap, and I think tap kind of gets no love from, like, you know, the regulars and on Ordinals and stuff, but it's doing really well. So
Yeah, actually, that's a really interesting one because they just had their TG not that long ago, and I think the last time I checked, the TAP token was trading at like 230 mil FDV, if I'm not mistaken. I gotta double check.
yeah, we need to list that tap, Harry, that tap token.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were one of the. We don't talk about it much because Farmer Joe faded it, but Bell's coin, you guys have been supporting that, and the last epoch is actually happening today, which is quite bullish. I know Jack has been watching the Bell's ecosystem too. Well, how you been, Jack? What have you been watching?
I'm good. I'm sort of a retired crypto guy, high school basketball coach these days. So I've been
Lit.
trying to come up with alpha basketball plays where I just jack threes all day. But anyways, back to crypto for a second. Yeah, so believe me, as much as people hate me in crypto, all these kids hate me too. Like, this is not basketball. This is like this. I don't know what sport you're playing, but this is not basketball because I'm just
Who is the common denominator
yeah
here?
me.
It is me. It's
Yeah,
a basketball.
yeah. So,
Exponents.
but exponent
No,
exactly.
yeah, I mean,
Oh, that was lit. That was
Three
bars.
three
I
is
do
bigger than
think that the
two.
alpha really is starting to consolidate, though. You've got
Bells and
Arch
Dogi.
Network, you've
Okay.
got OP Cat
Oh,
and
guys.
Cat protocols, and then you've got Bells, and for me, that's where all my attention is, and wherever I look, that's what all is coming up. So I think
Is
there's
this
a nice little
Randy?
feedback loop going on there. So that's what we're going to invest into building on.
Yeah, that's Randy. Randy, can you hear Jack when he talks?
Oh no, sorry, I can't hear him. I'll drop down.
Wow, what a dick! Putting up tranny porn and talking over people.
Yeah.
Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
let me cook.
Do it loud.
I disagree with Randy a lot. So
Let's go.
I actually co-created this cat thing. Maybe created this cat thing. I don't know how you want to call it. I'm very bearish on that shit for now because I don't see this coming to BTC for a long time. Okay. So just having cat on a fractal chain is not very bullish. Okay. Uh, so what though? Consolidation. I like Doge because Elon once Trump gets in, Elon's gonna have a major role in the new presidency. So Elon's been doing this Department of Government Efficiency bullshit, which is just nothing more than just pump Doge. So you can think of it like Michael Saylor for Doge. So like every dollar that he cuts from employee salaries from the government, he uses that to stack Doge. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a public like strategy for Doge. I was in talks with a couple of these guys for Canada, for Solana. But I think the next one to have this will be Doge. And then Dogi will be like a trigger on top of Doge. I know people think that's because it doesn't have a bag, but you know, I rarely talk about lots of bags, but I really think this bag is gonna go up. The other consolidation is Bells. I think Bells is also related to Doge. But yeah, and then on Bitcoin, I think consolidation around root. So every other standard on Bitcoin is utterly useless. This is because Arch is building for app
Jack, you're rugging,
OpNet,
sir.
and
You're
this other
rugging
stuff,
so hard.
BRC20s,
Yeah,
all relatively
you're
useless.
rugging. We want to
All useless.
keep the
Yeah.
You're rugging
All
a
right,
little bit, but the alpha is
so
immense.
TLDR. Most people believe in the meme coin super cycle, but it sounds like Jack believes in the Dogecoin super cycle, which is part of the meme coin super cycle, but everything related to Doji, bells, and so forth. I don't necessarily
Yeah.
think that that's a bad way of looking at it, because the attention. I mean, if we just look at like attention markets, right? Like it's where a lot of the attention will go into, and people will try and find the levered beta on Doge, and that's most likely going to be things like Bell's coin and Doji as like Doji is like a BRC20 token standard on Doge, right? Like it's most similar to that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Doji is like the Ordi. Yeah, it's BRC20,
Yeah.
DRC20.
DRC20, that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, I could see Doge going, but I don't know if I can see the fungible tokens on Doji going super parabolic. Because like, isn't there no opcat? Like, and like it's still the clunky BRC20 use
Yeah,
cases
but
on Doge.
here's my prediction. I think Doge will add OpCat much sooner than BTC will add OpCat. I think BTC will be the last chain to add OpCat.
Yeah, I think
Um,
this is the exciting conversation, isn't it? It's Arch and Runes versus Opcat and Cat protocols coming up. I mean, it's going to be the heavyweight battle.
Someone's just got to make a cat focused chain, don't they?
And
Right? Fucking meow.
Randy, was it
Yep,
Harry
cat-
the other day who
cat
was like
focus chain is
suggesting
coming.
that they wanted to fork Arch and put it on Doge?
probably Harry's got all kinds of crazy ideas.
Dude, Harry has been cooking, dude. Harry's been turbocharged.
I mean,
I'm
if
very
But
we
dude,
really
bullish
think
Arch.
about
Bell's
it, like
Very bullish Arch.
technically, Arch can be the smart contract enabler for all UTXO based blockchains, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. Like, it is theoretically possible that is the smart contract enablement platform for all UTXO based blockchains.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah, so that's this is the cool conversation too. It's like, so basically Arch is a lot like something like Solana as a layer 2 for Bitcoin, right? And then the Cat protocol stuff is really just layer 1 UTXO chain based tokens and NFTs. So it really will be this heavyweight battle of like the layer 2s where you say, well, what's better? Is it the account based system, something like Arch, or is it the
Yeah, so if I'm
base layer
Arch,
stuff?
if I'm Arch, I expand to the different UTXO chains that don't have OpCat, and I don't try to compete with OpCat chains directly. So like, if I'm Arch, I don't go to Bells, which is about to have OpCat. I don't go to Fractal, which has OpCat. I go to Doge. I go to like BTC.
Well, you just do BTC. Yeah,
which is
I
what they're
mean, I
doing.
think that's
Just do
yeah.
BTC.
Arch has
Yeah.
a head start on everything because Arch gets to leverage all the existing infrastructure, but really not infrastructure, really just the network of BTC and Runes. So
Yeah, it's the assets,
Correct.
right? Like the value
it
of the assets on BTC are significantly greater than
like
any
it's
of these
almost
chains.
like the competition is, once Arch launches, it's going to have a head start on something like Fractal Bitcoin, which is just momentum dying day over day. So like people are already looking
Yeah.
for a new OpCat chain because Fractal Bitcoin fucked it all up, and now
Which is
it's like
coming. Which is coming.
worthless or whatever.
oh wait,
The token went down.
what is it not Bell's, Jack?
It's not Bells. Bells is Boomer. It's too
What are
late.
you
How did Bell? No,
Oh my god.
Y'all, the battlefield is
Bells
even
should
messier
have
than you
beat
think.
Fractal to OpCat. The fact that it did not and still has not enabled OpCat is fucking around on testnet is hyper bearish for Bells.
None of it. We're still not talking about
If
though
I
the limitations that
yeah.
OpCat still has, even if it does get forked into Bitcoin, because we're already seeing these types of limitations play out on chains such as Fractal. So like I think that
yeah, don't worry.
what Randy is
OpCat
saying
is never coming to Bitcoin.
either way, even if
Where
it
the fuck is
ultimately,
Udi, dude? I've been lied to. Udi, I've been wearing wizard hats and doing all
Arch,
this shit, and you're saying what?
what we're ultimately betting on is that once you see the user experience and how native it ultimately feels and really is for some participants, and trustless for some participants, but certainly isn't limited by the same bottlenecks and limitations that Bitcoin ultimately brings, whether using opcodes such as opcat or not. I think we're betting on people not wanting to go backwards in user experience after they've already tasted this much more pleasant way of doing it, because we built this VM specifically for Bitcoin and UTXO chains.
So opcat with big blocks is a much better user experience than Arch. But because big blocks is never coming and opcat is never coming to BTC, Arch is the final winner on BTC, period. There's no opcat. That Udi shit is just a grift to sell some puppets or some shit, or sell some like little NFTs.
Yeah, I mean,
and raise
even
some
if
$8 million from
opcat
VCs.
comes to
Yeah.
BTC, even if opcat comes to BTC, it'll be like some legacy product. We already fucked around with it on FB. The first tokens are already out. And then if Arch exists, then it's so much
Yeah.
better. I mean, really, even if opcat comes, it's not going to be the number
Yeah.
one token thing. It's
Yeah.
just not.
No,
So
it's
yeah,
not.
Can
Arch
someone
is the
bullish as
best
remind
fuck
me?
for
Yeah.
Arch.
Can someone remind me with
I think
opcat real quickly?
ultimately,
Sorry, just real quickly.
Yeah,
Do they require bridging to go into opcat?
Yeah, it's
as
it's
well?
bad for
Like-
BRC20s because ultimately, like, you look at what happened, right? Domo is an investor in Arch. Okay, so what is he doing? Why is he not promoting BRC20s? The people behind the best BRC20 products, like Unisat, they're like, oh shit, I can make a lot more money making Fractal. So why do I care about BRC20s on BTC either?
bro,
And then all the
that's
ones
not
that people,
that's not the problem. That's not the problem.
yeah,
The problem
go
is that with BRC20, there's nothing more to do. So the only thing to do is to promote it. Nobody wants to do that
ahead.
shit chill forever. Everybody, you need to be able to
Yeah.
evolve. The thing needs to be able to evolve, and
Well,
that's
here's
why Domo's moved on.
here's some extra context I can give about BRC20. And one thing that I will say about Domo, the Layer 1 Foundation, Best in Slot, et cetera, for the BRC20 is that they're much more willing than Casey is to change and to be more adaptive to what the programmable future of Bitcoin really ultimately is going to like desire or need. Casey has said several times he has absolutely no interest in some of these more programmable things. He has no interest in MEV, but you have Domo and BRC20 as an opportunity to possibly bridge that gap. Like I think Runes was created as an incremental improvement because of the two-step commit reveal limitations that BRC20 had at the time, which won't be the case forever. And also they have the inclination to want to participate in other more programmable things. And I'll explain to you exactly how that may pan out within the context of Arch. So we have our own token standard that happens, that exists within the Arch network called the Arch Program Library, the APL for short, just like the SPL on Solana. So inside of Arch, you can have a totally like low fee, fully fungible platform, and also a lot more tools for creators to do much more things like even Randy can explain a little bit more with the launchpad that they're making, but you can do these more things inside of Arch in a low fee environment on an account model where you can mint tokens, you can play with them in a much more fungible environment, and then you can take them outside of Arch, and then you can have this burn and mint function on the BRC20 standard that allows you to basically take that asset that's totally native inside of Arch, outside of Arch onto the layer 1, and now you have a BRC20 where now you have centralized exchange support, you have market making support, you have a lot more infrastructure support.
Yeah.
So now you have this new
I
type of
think
thing, which is cool.
Boomer. Wait, is Arch not 100% just runes
wait,
only?
just listen.
You're going to do both runes and BRC20 and APL?
Why wouldn't you? So anyway, look, Matt.
It's any
Matt, let me
UTXO
narrow
asset.
down your
It's
pitch.
ordinals, runes, atomicals. It could be anything it could be the next, future token standard. Doesn't matter what it is.
No, see,
Boomer.
you see.
Wait.
Matt, the reason
Why is
why
that
he's-
boomer? Why is that boomer?
We gotta reset the spaces here. Look, one at a time. Matt.
Wait, why would you reset the spaces?
Hold on. Just let
Yeah,
Randy
don't
speak.
reset the spaces. It's hot right now.
No.
It's
We're
hot.
not resetting.
Yeah,
anything.
what
We're
are you
resetting the floor. We're
doing?
resetting the floor.
What are you
We're not
doing,
running. We're not
Joe?
running.
No. No, I'm
No,
resetting the
Joe,
reset. Go.
Let Randy
Bad
speak.
Joe,
Sorry,
Matt.
Joe. Sorry.
Let Randy speak.
Bad joke. Look, Matt, I think the reason why he's saying it's boomer is because you got to reset the pitch. The pitch is, imagine Solana, but you can use Bitcoin to trade and as like that's your whatever they call it, gas fee mechanism. That's what Arch is. It's just Solana. It's fully programmable. There's nothing you can't do. So just pitch it that way.
My point is, if you believe in APL so much, only support APL, fuck all ruins, fuck all BRC20s. If you don't believe that, don't create a new standard, only pick the standard that works, which is ruins, and fuck BRC20s also. So, in my opinion, your choices are either only support ruins or only support APL. If you're trying to tell me, oh, any standard atomicals, even atomicals founders don't give a single fuck about atomicals. Why do I believe that you should care about atomicals? Like, that's what you write on a VC slide deck to tell people who have never owned a single BRX20 or atomical or even used a Bitcoin transaction in the last 2 years. Write the slide deck for them. But if you want to ship something this is why you're always delayed to ship. Why you're still on testnet. It's because you're trying to do 8 different things and you don't have a clue which one you should be doing.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think you got to pick one and you got to stick with it because competing token protocols just fractures liquidity every time.
This is why the basketball team hates you.
It's actually quite the opposite. It's unifying state within one like global state machine because all of the competing meta protocols are fracturing liquidity and state amongst them, right? That's the issue. What we're trying to do is we're trying to aggregate as much stuff together because at the end of the day, these are UTXO assets. So if you want to swap Ordi for Dog, you can do that inside of Arch. You don't necessarily need to transfer among all these different meta protocols.
No one in the world wants. No one in the world wants to do that. No one even wants Dog or Ordi by themselves, let alone swap for each other. Okay, Solana's worth $100 billion, and they couldn't give a fuck about ERC20s. So the pitch cannot be ERC20s can also live on Solana. Like, no, they just have their own language, and they said, fuck everyone else, we're doing SPL. So if you believe in that, you just do APL and fuck everything else. If you don't believe in that, you care about these existing assets, pick ruins. You can't convince me that you can support 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 protocols at the same time. That is what you lie to VCs about. That is not real when you build something.
It's lit on a Tuesday.
Even Fractal with a better team than yours in terms of building Unisat, with building like actual products, shipping that for millions of users. Even Unisat, with all this hype about, oh, I'm going to build an elevator for ruins and BRC20s. Where the fuck is their elevator? Okay, like that doesn't exist. It's because you can't just do all these things at once, right? And I'm an investor in both Arch and Fractal. I just tell it like it is.
100% agree with you where that like a token standard like SPL is the ultimate moat for any ecosystem, right? You want the most adopted token standard of all. The point is that the different thing here is that we have to consider that people want native Bitcoin stuff. So the APL standard is totally native inside of Arch. So how do we make that exist outside of Arch and on Bitcoin is the question.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like you're building a piggyback chain. You're building a layer 2. It's not its own chain like Solana was, basically, Jack.
It's a smart contract layer.
Yeah, then just use ruins on Arch.
Yeah, but we're building.
But it's not for us to decide. Like Saturn chose runes, but somebody else could choose BRC20, or somebody could choose totally cross meta protocol. It's totally up to the builders to decide. We're just building the infrastructure layer that allows them to do that and give them that flexibility. We didn't choose to support.
Yeah, but the more of these things you build, the more
we don't make any distinction between the two.
But it takes you longer to support.
No, it doesn't. That's
many things than supporting
that's
one.
The difference. So like we by default, because of how we built our system, we're totally interoperable with all meta protocols that are UTXO based and all like Bitcoin native wallets and infrastructure, just simply because we're on the same curve as all of it. So it's not like that we said, hey, we're going to go and like we're going to make consideration to atomicals. That wasn't a decision. It's just a default reality because of how we built our architecture, and atomicals is a UTXO meta protocol.
Instead of launching like having a testnet product, you should just do your testnet stuff on Bells. Like make the Bells the testnet for Arch.
I second that. I think that's like what I've been doing with Fractal and Bells is building out concepts with Opcat to prove out some of the edge cases. And, you know, I don't know if and when Opcats come into Bitcoin. Jack seems pretty optimistic about it, but I do think that's a pretty interesting use case. But yeah, dude, this has been quite the convo. I love when Jack this is the good stuff. But so Jack, for December or this election, what is like the sequence of events for, like, if you were to invest in one coin for each month of, like, November, what are you looking at, December, and what are you rotating into January? Because I need the Jack scoop on the November token, the December token, and the January token.
I don't know. I don't think I've made money in a year, so I don't know if I'm the alpha. But
Bells,
I think in general,
bells.
I actually think an easy win is find which listed companies, whether in Japan or Canada or US or whatever, just launched a new stock that holds some coin, and just go buy that stock the moment they are announced themselves.
Wait, talk about boomer. What the fuck are you talking about stock, bro? I'm trying to look.
Oh no, it's true. It's true. No. I'm telling you, this is because when you're in degens, you're just PvPing against each other. Where you're in stocks, you're buying some shit that some 65-year-old boomer on their retirement savings account are buying into. So you can actually do PvE instead of PvP. So, like, if you look at the best performing things this year, it's actually Metaplanet in Japan, up like 12x. It's actually like MicroStrategy, way outperforming BTC. It's this Soul Strategies company, ticker HODL, in Canada. So just the same way I told you guys a year ago, make sure you're set up to, like, get a Unisat wallet to buy Bitcoin ordinals. Get a Doge market wallet so you can get Dogenos. What you need to do is make sure you have access in your Boomer stock market account to not just buy US equities, but buy Greek equities, Taiwan equities, Hong Kong equities, anything like that. Because what's going to happen is MicroStrategy is already number 199 on the S&P 500. That means this company will literally be doing absolutely nothing, and at some point in the future, it will be a top 10 company on the S&P 500 instead, if not top 1. Like, why the fuck are we making phones and making cars? That's fucking stupid. We should just be holding Bitcoin, okay? Coinbase did a share buyback, and the market was like, are you guys retarded? Why would you take your valuable earnings and buy back your own stupid shares that are worthless? Like, the long term is that Coinbase market share in this industry will be near zero, right? Brian Armstrong just got married. He's going to do other things. Like, in 20 years, Coinbase has no market share, but it's been relevant since 2012. So kudos to them for being relevant for 12 years. You should take your relevance and your earnings and buy something that's permanent, like Doge, like Solana, like Bitcoin. Stop buying your shares, which is impermanent, right? So this is what the market is telling you. The stock market worldwide is about $120 trillion or maybe $150 trillion worldwide. The Bitcoin crypto market is like 2-3 trillion. Okay. So what we're trying to do is eat into the stock market so that eventually crypto is 20 trillion and it's got 10 trillion of that floating around on the stock market. Just like you can't get someone to onboard to crypto, well, they can just buy the crypto 9 to 4, 9 to 5 within these stock market. So the two ways to go is build an L2, but everyone, their mom has an L2 going on. The best way is to bring your L1 token into the L stock market. You know what I'm saying? Like, put it into the stock. So what I see happening is you'll see announcements like, oh, this company in Canada is now a Doge holding company. This company in Canada, I might set up a company just to hold bells. Okay, I don't care. But like, what'll happen is you'll get to be like, instead of someone telling someone, go get Nintendo or go get non-KYC, what is all this shit? Go get Gate.io. You could tell someone, just log into your Charles Schwab, log into your Robinhood, and just buy the stock. All it does is hold bells, okay? In a bull market, it's like a leverage play because it's going to trade at 2-3 times premium, okay? And at some point, 100 companies in the S&P 500 will be crypto holding companies. And just like people think like companies that have no earnings are fake, they're just doing sales. In the future, all companies that do not have some crypto on their balance sheet are considered fake, right? Like, that means you have no residual like value because all your business could go to zero because you're relying on employees and market competition, all that kind of stuff. So that's a big wave, is that companies
So is this
stock.
like
So
TLDR? Would this be
yes.
like a ETF, a hacked version of an ETF of some sort?
Yeah, so you could think of like BlackRock.
We've already had
BlackRock will eventually have. Hold on.
We've already had something like
Go
this
ahead.
in 2017, 2018, where there was just, TradFi ICOs raising money to create a holding company that were marked up at 2 or 3x, the NAV of their holdings. They call themselves proof of stake holding companies or some like derivatives of that, like Dash Crypto or something like that. Some of these were formed just for specific assets of proof of stake assets. Some of these were.
Well, you have gold ETFs. I mean, that's a pretty good example, right?
Yeah, but we already have ETFs for the actual assets themselves. So these are like the purest form of.
All right. So Jack, what is the difference this time? If there was already a bull run 2017 of the caliber of that.
No. In 2017, the stock market guys, the investors were like, "Oh, crypto is a scam. I don't want to invest in crypto. I don't know what that is." Oh, but you have a Bitcoin mining company? Oh, that sounds like real. So like there was a lot of Bitcoin miners going IPO because they're like operationally sound guy, good team, good whatever, good management. That shit all went to zero. Okay. Just like the early Bitcoiners in 2012, even though Bitcoin was $12, they didn't want to buy Bitcoin because they thought, I'm so smart. I can mine my Bitcoin because my cousin has free electricity. They all got wrecked because they should have just bought Bitcoin. Okay. So everyone has to learn, right? Everyone first wants to look for something fundamental. So the stock market guys look for something fundamental, and now they get it. Now they don't want to buy the mining companies. They don't want to buy Coinbase. What they want to buy is Michael Saylor. You do nothing but just lever up your balance sheet and just keep on stacking coins. So the next wave of public listed companies are not companies that are going public. They're going to be just shell companies that hodl crypto. And so every single foundation, whether you're Sui, whether you're Solana, whether you're whatever foundation, instead of just running hackathons trying to get people to build shit on your chain, you need to go find a listed company to like pair up with to try and eat into the $100 trillion that's in stocks. And then what's going to happen is BlackRock will eventually have an ETF for like 5, 10 coins, 20 coins, but it's much easier to front run BlackRock, just like Saylor front run BlackRock. He started doing MicroStrategy 4 years before the ETF. So you're going to have a Doge holding company 3-4 years before there's a Doge ETF. You're going to have like a Sui holding company 3-4 years before there's a Sui ETF. So I think that is some kind of unknown alpha, because even when these companies announce, their stock doesn't just jump by 10x on announcement. It jumps like 20% because the boomers are like, are you kidding me? This cannot be real. You can get in because you know this is real. So you buy the stock, and then the next 1 or 2 months, this thing pumps like crazy. Basically, that's what happens.
So this is the meme coin ETF at large. So now we're just ETFing, front running meme coins to
it's not an ETF in that form. Like, MicroStrategy has earnings, right? So you have to have some cash flow machine to pay your creditors to acquire more Bitcoin. I mean, that's really how it works.
Well, not true. MetaPlanet has absolutely no earnings. They had a defunct building that used to be in a hotel in Japan, and all they do is just issue shares. You think MicroStrategy is buying the Bitcoin with their stupid software company that is like losing to Salesforce, whatever it is? Like, no. SWA, whatever it's called, SAP. Yeah, you think that's what they're using to buy Bitcoin? No. Saylor just announced a $42 billion money printing, share printing, and the investors like, oh, I like it. I like being diluted because now you can go buy more Bitcoin. So next 3 years, Saylor's about to print $42 billion out of thin air to buy Bitcoin. Because see, the U.S. Treasury is printing trillions of dollars of Bitcoin out of thin air, and they don't buy Bitcoin. So it seems like really good to have them buy Bitcoin. So it's not an ETF because it's better than ETF. It's more Ponzi than ETF. ETF is 1-to-1. It doesn't trade above 1. These companies can trade 2, 3, 4x multiple of the actual holdings.
All right, so it's a PTF. It's a PTF.
It's literally
a Ponzi flywheel.
It's crypto infiltrating the
I
traditional.
love Ponzi flywheels. Oh my God, those are my favorite type of flywheels, dude. Are you kidding me?
No, this is.
Yeah, so instead of pump.fund, you're going to have stock.fund, essentially. A list of stocks that just like hold crypto. Okay.
All right. So I'm going to download Robinhood, and then what am I buying, Jack?
Yeah, Robinhood is too boomer. It only has access to U.S. equities. You need to get access to like Taiwan equities, Thailand equities.
What do I download?
Kong, Canada. Those are the little mini exchanges. Like if you just have Binance, you get dumped on because everything dumps after you get listed on Binance. You need to be on like MEXC, Gate.io, this kind of shit, but for stocks. There will be hundreds of crypto holding stocks coming to the market in the next 1 year.
Crypto. So am I interfacing? How do I interface and grab one of these stocks? Or is it through ICO or like tokens through Gate.io, like you're saying?
No. You just buy the actual stock.
Where?
like
That's what I'm
3
asking.
No,
three
Jack,
What app?
you need to teach
for
these Gen
I don't
Zers
know. You
how
need to have many apps. You
buy
can't get one
international
app. No
equities.
one app accesses all of them. You need to get a
Dude,
Japan stock market account.
Grinder has handled a lot of things for me. That's just one app.
Uh-huh.
But what's the Grinder of this section?
No, man.
What's
No,
the one you're using?
Interactive brokers.
You got to be in the trenches.
Ordinalswallet.com.
Yeah, you got to be in the
okay?
trenches.
Ordinalswallet.com.
Shut the fuck up. What app am I downloading? I'm trying to lose some money with Jack. Every time I lose money with Jack, it goes up. So I'm trying to get the app. But all right, we can switch. What is it?
Interactive brokers. Interactive brokers is fine.
Okay, sick.
But make sure you apply to have access to international markets, as many of these small stock markets as possible. You can ask ChatGPT, like, what account do I need to buy the Canadian Stock Exchange, like CSE, right? Because what happens is the major stock exchange, like New York Stock Exchange, they require things like Octane Barsley, whatever that fucking like regulation is, which requires like 3 years of audited financials from Ernst & Young, KPMG, and this bullshit. Sorry, I don't have audited financials. I'm looking for some shady stock market where I can pay $100 grand and list a shell company and go IPO and start holding about $500 worth of Doge. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. So you're not looking for the big stock market. Just like the alpha coins are not going to be listed on Coinbase first. That has a whole bunch of listing requirements. Okay, just like the alpha coins is not going to be listed by BlackRock first. So you need to find the regulatory friendly fringe stock markets around the world, like Canada, like Thailand, like whatever the fuck, like Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan. And then what you're looking for is code words like MicroStrategy for Taiwan, or like MicroStrategy for Solana, MicroStrategy for Doge, and you're gonna have like 100 of these knockoff fucking companies, and a lot of them are likely to pump 5-10x basically.
Oh, fucking! For those that don't know, Jack is the fucking man. He was actually super early to ordinals. He launched the first fucking use case that I saw, and when Jack speaks, you listen, because I've went to Doge and did a lot of things, but Jack, man, that was some alpha. I'm downloading the app. I'm sending all of my money, everything. I'm liquidating everything.
I can relate to that, actually. I used to go on the Jack Liu show, and that was kind of like my first introduction really to this whole concept of hyper Bitcoinization, Bitcoin's eating the world. And Jack, I can genuinely tell you that Jack is not just someone who doesn't believe in what he says. He acts accordingly with his own bags. So although it might seem very crazy to some people, Jack very much puts his money where his mouth is 99% of the time. And his hit rate has been pretty damn good with some of these wild takes. I mean, for most people, these seem like wild takes, but the reality is, there's going to be a MicroStrategy type company for Japan, and it was, Metaplanet is that one. There's going to be a company that recreates that strategy in the Canadian stock market. Again, creating that flywheel. All things to say, like this, generally speaking, this doesn't sound ultimately long-term sustainable for our industry. So I'll caveat with that. It works when the price goes up, but we're about to enter a bull run, so it's probably going to work out for a lot of these things.
Yeah, my thing is I'm going to get you part of a pump. Whether you able to cash out or you hold it back down to zero, I don't take responsibility for that. I'd rather have a chance to win the lottery and then lose it all than never won the lottery in the first place. I can't promise you anything else. I'm not nothing to promise anyways, but you have to find a new narrative, a new unbelievable thing, something that seems like so fake, so crazy, and kind of go with that.
This
like
post
if you
BSV enlightenment, Jack, is truly one of a kind.
Post BSV. Wait, all right. So, Jack, I want the real take on Fractal. Like, what is that? Is anything going to happen from this point on? I feel like, what is the use case if they didn't demonstrate like a really killer like bridge with the same taproot address with BRC20s?
Yeah, I don't know, but I think a couple lessons learned from that whole experience is normally for proof of stake projects, they have this whole investor lockup, 7 months, vesting period, 1 year, team is locked up to show that, hey, look, we're in solidarity, we're not gonna dump on you, and number go up, right? But with this kind of like half the network is mined and the other half is locked up for a year, it actually doesn't work because what ends up happening is on the very first block, there is no fractal around circulating except for these miners, okay? And but meanwhile, all your innovation, like the Cat20 protocol, all this hype, oh, fractal this, fractal that, it all happens on block 1 or block 10 or block 100. So then you have this like pump to $40, $35, and this thing just dumps all the way down to 5. It might dump to 3 or 2 or 1. So nobody buying fractal is winning. Like Bitcoin, what Bitcoin has going for it is like the whole time we were inscribing ordinals and whatever else, you were using BTC as a base currency, which is not going to dump on you. It's more of a safe haven asset in this ecosystem. But the way the fractal thing was laid out, the fractal is not the safe haven asset on this chain because it's got this weird like dump effect from just miners. And so like if I were to do another fractal, for example, I would actually allow the investors to dump on day 1 because like then you'd have some supply out there in the market and it's a more 50-50 chance whether it goes up from there or goes down from there. Whereas with this constant drip from miners plus a future drip from investors who are locked up equals, even though something could be exciting happening on Fractal today, the market is not going to respect that until many years later. This is the lesson with Zcash. I don't know about Zcash. Sounds cool, privacy, blah, blah, blah. But because it's got the same supply curve as Bitcoin, 21 million, but also the same, like everything's the same, but you're starting a stagger 10 years after Bitcoin, then while Bitcoin is being exciting about having and a supply shock, you are over here stuck 10 years ahead of behind Bitcoin, so Zcash is down only. Bells did a good job. Bells is like, okay, let's just get through that bullshit as soon as possible so that within 1 year of the network launch, we could be excited about supply constraints. So if you're going to launch a proof of work network, you got to get your mind around this like hyperinflationary like supply hitting and let this not drag out over years and years and years. That's my ultimate like issue with Fractal is that you might have better tech, but you don't have better tokenomics. So while you're waiting for this thing to hit a bottom, whether it's at $2 or $3 or $1 or 50 cents or whatever it is, um, uh, someone else might make a cat chain or someone else might make something else that will be better than this. And then your team, you just lose a lot of
Yeah, and it
momentum,
doesn't even have to be
So
better if
like,
it's new,
yeah,
right? It's like even if it's
if it's
yeah,
new,
it's like
yeah.
everyone's looking for the next thing to invest in. These things like Fractal, it's like even after a month, you're like, well, I already missed out on it, you know. So you just look for the next move.
Yeah, you basically missed out on it if you did not seed invest in Fractal. Even as a seed investor, you want someone who still believes in it because they really actually do believe in it. You don't want them to believe in it as an investor because they're locked up. So it's like, oh yeah, I love Fractal. I love Fractal a lot because like I need to dump it next year. Like just get rid of this guy who invested in your chain by letting him dump it now. Which like on block 1, which would have meant that Fractal never traded to 40 in the first place. It peaked at $8.50. Then as a retail person, I'm like, oh, it went from 850 down to like 550. Okay, cool. Maybe I'll go back to 10. But because it went from 40 down to like 5, you got a whole bunch of your public community bag holding a minus 90%. It's kind of hard to rebuild this community back up.
Agree. I mean, this is one of the things why we had this whole meme coin era to begin with, where we have 100% circulating on day 1. The outcome is very much positive as long as there is positive momentum and ownership. And in most cases, the last altcoin TGEs have all been very unsuccessful. One, they launch at sky high market caps and creating or not even market caps, but FDV. I mean, you have 10 billion plus FDV for something like Athena or something like that, which is just wild. Chains themselves are like a country, right? Like it's you're trying to create a positive benefit to any single person that is buying at any point in time. Hopefully, yeah, there's going to be volatility, but you don't want people to get wrecked because that's how you destroy your chain. I mean, any L1 or L2, the chain is the product. I mean, like more importantly, the token is the product, right? Like, and if your token is unsuccessful, then your product is not going to be successful because there's going to be no one left wanting to hold it, use it, or be optimistic in it.
How to launch a blockchain 101. You just heard it here first,
Yeah,
folks. Go launch a
Matt, do you guys
blockchain.
have anything to say about Arch tokenomics? We don't know much about that, right?
Yeah, we actually just put the final touches on it with the simulation guys that are doing the design. Which it's not as simple as just a consumer application. Obviously, we need the whole thing to have a full feedback loop that makes sure that the hard economic security of the network is scalable over the next 20 years. Essentially, like this is not just something that we can release haphazardly. So it was a 4-month process, and it finally finished. And we'll be publishing those tokenomics here pretty soon. But what can I answer in terms of specifics that you guys want to know?
Sounds bullish to me.
I get. I didn't really respond with much. I thought there was going to be a
My
follow-up
bad.
question.
I was on mute. No, I don't know, Jack. Why don't you give him some ideas on what would be good tokenomics since you've been so loud about everything?
I think Jack just dropped off. So
Oh, he bailed on the question. He was doing the laughing emojis.
I
That's
think
fucked up.
I think Jack just went back to the fucking espresso machine.
I think Jack
There
just
he
wants
is.
100% VC unlocks
He's back. He's back.
Jack, you bailed? You bailing on Arch? Damn.
I actually just came back to the space because I couldn't hear Matt.
Okay.
So I need to re-get in. I don't know what Matt said.
Oh, he said they did a simulation and they're about ready to get release their tokenomics for the Arch token.
No, I was just saying that it was a long drawn out process that was extensively designed to make sure that the security of the network and how it scales ultimately has a full feedback loop. But in terms of specifics, I can offer some specifics.
We need the pumpamentals. We needed to not do what Fractal did.
Oh well, I can tell you one thing, that the investors of Arch are long term aligned. There's definitely not going to be short unlocks dumping on users in any short term fashion, and it'll be a long drawn out process. So that also is for the team as well. So this is a multi cycle
how do
project
tokens get into circulation?
Well, there's going to be a community-wide airdrop, like most ecosystems do. So this incentivized testnet period is the first opportunity that users have to farm some points that can be used for that particular incentive piece. There's going to be a public auction after the testnet as well for certain users who got to a certain level in the testnet based on their activity. So then that's another way that we'll airdrop some tokens as well. And then the developers, there's also a tremendous amount of incentives that we're giving to the developers to make sure that they're successful and aligned with the project. So that will come in by way of an airdrop, grants that we're giving to quality teams who have been building, like you guys, as you know, and
like Ordinal's wallet.
Yeah, exactly. We're very bullish on the Ordinal wallet team and shipping, and we think that backing the right teams is going to really move the needle in a positive direction for Bitcoin as we start to get to market here in the next couple months.
So Jack's whole argument just now was let the teams and let the people who get the early coins dump right away, get them out of the picture. That way the coin has growth opportunity and it doesn't always have like this downward sell pressure over time.
No,
like
we
Fractal.
actually agree. Like, shake out the paper hands and get the long-term aligned users into the project as cheap of a price point as possible. Like, I think that's generally how you build a good ecosystem. Like, the reason why Solana vibes are so high is because everyone's making money and they've been participating for the last few years and had opportunities to make money. So we're trying to recreate a lot of that.
Solana launched at like in the pennies.
Yeah, I think they ICO'd at 30 million, which was a pretty good opportunity. But then there were still several opportunities for almost a year to continue to participate because there was such high float. It was very hard to move the needle But that was, I think, an intentional choice that Toli and Raj made from a business standpoint, because they wanted instant price discovery and they wanted to optimize for long-term community,
Correct.
which is something that we're doing as well. We want to optimize for that as well, which certainly means lower TGE price compared to these high FDV, low float TGE prices that, you know, get cut in half or worse in the first 20 days. Like, that's not going to optimize for community vibes at all. So you can be sure that that's, you know, something that we're paying attention to when we're designing the token strategy.
Yeah. So basically, I think that the token strategy, the token design in this industry is trying to replicate Silicon Valley's like 4-year vesting, 1-year cliff bullshit. But the thing is, meme coins like Mudang and like fucking Peanut and shit are proving to you that I can get to $1 billion in 5 days. So then trying to replicate stocks that go to $1 billion in 10 years is not actually aligned. So like to Vanny's point, what I was trying to say earlier is if you force me as an investor not to be able to dump for 2-3 years, you think that's making me long-term aligned because I have to now care about this for 2, 3, 4 years. But it also means that your project cannot possibly succeed in 1 week because everyone's like, well, I don't get my tokens anyways for 2 more years. Why would I launch something super radical in the first week? If I'm an exchange, I'm like, why do I care about listing your coin the first week when I can list your coin in a year from now? But what I would do is I would go to Binance, I would go to these different exchanges, be like, hey, I have 5% tokens for you for free on day one. You can dump on day one. Now they're like, wait, so I can dump on day one. Why would I not want to list this coin on day one so I can dump to my own users? Okay, that sounds like you can't say that. Okay, but this is what these exchanges do. So, like, you want everyone to unlock on day one, but what you can do is you can delay when day one is. So you can be like, all right, okay, cool. Were you ready for day one? Oh, you're not ready? Let's go. We'll just delay our launch. But then the first day you launch, everyone's liquid, and your entire ecosystem is already built. Uh, because you might want to have season 3 grants for developers, but by season 3, that developer is off making their next 100 other meme coins or 100 other projects. Like, people don't have time to care about your blockchain for many, many years. Like, everything is being condensed, in my opinion. So you don't want to stretch your tokenomics to 3-4 years because I don't know what I'll be doing in 3-4 years. I think this is like part of the issue. And then, like, especially not for you guys, but especially for these half mining, half proof of stake kind of or team cabal chains, it doesn't make sense to say I want long-term aligned team and developers or investors when your miners are clearly not long-term aligned. They're like, fuck this, I'm dumping immediately as soon as I mine it. So if the miners can dump, then why not just let everyone dump? Is the issue. And then the other thing that's crypto, and my friends at Scroll just experienced this recently. No one cares about this farming points thing anymore because it's like, okay, if a lot of us use the testnet, then we all get diluted because you're going to tell us, oh, 10,000 points is only equal to 1 arch or something. If none of us use this, you'll be like, oh, 100 points is equal to 1 arch. So I'm basically screwing over myself by using it more because I don't know clarity what the conversion is up front. So a lot of these people get disappointed farming this for a long, long time. Um, and and then actually once they get their art or their token, they just stop using your actual product. They pull the TVL out. So this entire like pre-token thing is just wasted, in my opinion. So just get rid of, in my opinion, not for your project, for other projects, get rid of this whole points phase, get rid of those lockup phase. Make sure everyone knows. Make sure your whole team knows. Hey, you're on my team. No vesting, bro. I don't care if you only work on with us for 2 months, but here's the deal: if we don't launch the network in 2 months and you leave, you don't get any tokens. But if you do stay until day one, you get all your employee tokens right up front. You can dump. So now everyone wants to push to launch the network as soon as possible and as good as possible. So you're now incentivizing your team to run in sort of like a crypto first principles speed. This is how I would think about it. Like, Bitcoin had 15 years to run it like this because no one gave a fuck about Bitcoin the first 5-7 years. But now that the whole world cares about crypto and the whole world cares about, can I make 100x tonight? You cannot artificially drag yourself to 3-4 years from now. you yourself are lying to you don't even want to work on this project 3 or 4 years from now. That's not called rugging your project. It's just called the reality of like, I don't want to watch the same TikTok video for 3 or 4 years. I got 6 seconds for you and I'm moving on to the next video. Like this is what's going on. Like you're not here to talk to some girl on Tinder over and over. You're here to swipe 100 times within 10 minutes. Like this is just the world we live in. So make your project pop. Like right now we're all talking about Arch. I don't want to talk about Arch another 3 years from now. I want to know tonight tokens launching tomorrow. Like this is what the people actually think in their head.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's see some of this actually come back to crypto to create, win-win scenarios for everybody because it's been a while. Randy, I guess, when we brought this up earlier too, or I think Matt did. You guys are doing some sort of like launchpad or something along those lines.
We're figuring it out. I think we need
Cool.
to look at the Arch stack and see what's possible and what we can do and get creative and all those things. But yeah, it's likely we'll run the playbook, the Ordinals Wallet, Pwrd. We've gotten really good at that kind of stuff. So we're excited to work on Arch for sure.
Sweet, man. We got like 2 minutes left in the show, so why don't we just kind of wrap it up with any kind of
This ain't
speakers
no
that want
thank you
to.
Thursday, man. You got 2 minutes left. You guys have time limits and stuff.
We got things to do. We got places to be, sir. We got jobs to go to at Wendy's, flipping burgers.
Dude, we got some stocks to go by, bro. I'm on these boomer ass apps, bro, just fucking getting lit. No, but shout out to everyone that came up. Today was the alpha. If you were here taking notes, you're one of the lucky ones getting boomer stocks with your boy. But no, Jack, appreciate you taking the time.
We'll be
I hit him
sharing
up.
out an Interactive Brokers referral link for everyone that just joined in, so they could be trading.
Yeah.
The next 100x
Bunzi,
Ponzi.
it says that you can use your IRA on Interactive Brokers. So good
Yeah,
on you.
dude. Yeah, man. I IRA all the time. I check my memos and I do all of those things often because, I'm a classified degen. So I have all of these things, but I'm excited to buy stocks again. Not that I ever bought them, but no, this was dank. I really think that this is an interesting time to start building out networks like Arches with Bitcoin. The bull run's coming. This one's gonna open up too many can of worms. I can't ask that one. But I was gonna bring up politics with Jack, but I did hit up Jack. We're gonna be getting him on. I've been doing Between Two Degens with Control on Friday, and Jack's gonna be coming on. So if you liked what you heard today and want to go deeper,
Yo, do you guys want to fork it? You want to fork the space if Joe's got to go?
fork it. Yeah, do it. But thanks for everyone that came in. Go launch a blockchain. Don't vest the tokens. Dump on your holders. What else did we learn today? I don't know.
The MetaPlanet MicroStrategy.
Oh yeah, Meta.
Thailand,
Yeah.
Africa of Canada is the future. Anyways, till next week on Tuesday. Fork the spaces soon. No show on Thursday. But yeah, we'll be back next week.
Later.
I think we could just have Brian leave it on the Arch account, right? Because he's a host.
No, you can't do something like that. You got to actually end it and fork it.
Jack, you fork it, Jack. Fork it, Jack.
All right, I'll start a space.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You heard it. Go join Jack's space. This has been a pleasure. We'll see you next Tuesday. Everything building on Bitcoin. If you're building something and you're not here, you're blowing it.